Hey, I'm Herald sports writer Manny Navarro here, joined by the Team Herald coverage team at the Citrus Bowl, where the state championship weekend has just concluded. Flanagan Falcons have just walked off the field with their first state championship. To my right, I've got David Fernandez, our recruiting writer. To my left, I got my old comrade, Andre C. Fernandez, our high school sports writer. And, of course, the Herald longtime veteran freelancer, Bill Daly, who always does a great job helping us out in so many different ways here at the state championships. And guys, another weekend with 4 state championships for Dade and Broward County. Dre, 4 years in a row this has happened. I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts on what Dade and Broward accomplished over these last 2 weekends?
Dade and Broward are doing this right now. Like, yep, another year. Why not? Basically, it's just dominance, man. I mean, you see teams like Central, you see teams like Booker T that were perceived to have down years this year. And even in those years, they say find a way. They're programs. They're not just teams, one shot and done. These guys know how to win. Their coaching staffs have really learned what it takes to guide their kids on this tough journey here. I mean, it's not easy to get here. It's not easy to win here. And a lot of them, like Flanagan, learned the hard way. Last year, they came up short in the state semi. And this season, it just all came together. They put it together. What a great story to me, like the whole father-son thing with Devin Bush and Devin Bush Jr. And, one of the many highlights, I'm leaving out St. Thomas, which I can't because they are the standard. They like saying that and capitalizing the STA for a good reason, because they really are. 9 state championships at this point. Amazing.
Yeah, so many great moments, Dre. You mentioned Devin Bush Jr. and his dad. I actually told him, I said, Devin, go find your dad. I haven't seen you give him a hug yet. And probably my best moment of the playoffs, to see that happen, to see the two guys embrace at midfield and hug and just cry it out. Bill, you were part of so many great playoff games this year, like you always are, covering all over the place for us. You went on the road and saw Tyler Huntley and a great Hollandale team. I'm going to lead you that way because, to me, Tyler Huntley, without question, the player of the year in the state and the job that he did. What did you take away from the playoffs this year?
You led me right into it, Manny. It was a slam dunk, okay? No doubt about it. That game that night against American Heritage, where they were down 20-7 in the third quarter, I mean, it was pretty much given up for dead. And he's out there starting to limp around on a bum ankle that he re-aggravated from a week before. And to see that kid do what he did against American Heritage in that atmosphere, to bring them back to the point where they pulled the game out and he couldn't even walk off the field after the game. And then the following week, okay, because all the talk was how's the ankle going to do, and then he goes all the way up to Bishop Moore in Orlando and just literally carries the team on his back. They couldn't stop Bishop Moore. Bishop Moore kept scoring, and he would just come right back and just start flinging the ball all over the place and hitting every receiver he's got. And he put 46 points up on the board, again hurting his ankle, re-injuring the ankle late in the game, and just a really tough, courageous kid, a talented kid. And I tweeted it out. I made no bones about it. I've been doing all this for about 25 years now, and I said that he is the best quarterback in Dade or Broward County I've ever seen come out of this county, and that's covering a lot of ground over a lot of time. I don't know how he's going to do at Utah. I don't know where he's going from here. I got a feeling he's going to be awfully good, but he's the best I ever seen as far as just the whole package, his ability to look off receivers, his footwork, his pocket presence, everything. Tyler Huntley is the whole package, and it was an absolute joy to watch him beat American Heritage and almost beat Bishop Moore.
Yeah, great run by Tyler Huntley and Hollandale. They didn't get here, but they ran into the state champions at home in their place and almost pulled it off. You talk about great players and great kids. David, I bring you in now. You interviewed so many of these guys throughout the year about recruiting, and obviously there's a big change at the University of Miami. Mark Richt is the head coach now. That's going to be huge for recruiting, I think. You and I talk about it all the time on our show on the Eye on the U show that you and I do together. What are your thoughts? What did you take away from this weekend? What are the big storylines as we head towards signing day?
Absolutely, Manny. And of course, here at the Herald, we go beyond game coverage. We cover the prospects and the athletes. And probably the biggest development this weekend was off the site of the state championship. It was on UM's campus. Zach McLeod, the linebacker from Santa Lucis in Palm Beach County. He decommitted in November, comes back on board with the Canes on the official visit. Mark Richt's first official visit as coach of the Hurricanes, and he was hosting a few of the other commits and early enrollees, and he gets him back on board. As far as what's going on here, we start with this game. Stanford Samuels, a 2017 cornerback for Flanagan. He comes in wearing his Florida State gloves. Of course, his father went to Florida State. He wouldn't tip his hand in recruiting, and he obviously has a long time before his signing day. But, that's a development, and obviously FSU Twitter almost broke when they saw that. They were excited to see it for sure. But even bigger than that, Devin Bush, he's going to make his announcement on Wednesday as far as where he's going. You know, Michigan, FSU at the top there. We'll find out. We'll have the coverage for that as well. Earlier today, we have Keir Thomas, a defensive end for Miami Central. He says FSU is back in it. He decommitted earlier. It was also in November. And today he told reporters that FSU is back in it. Auburn was his leader when he decommitted, but with Tavares Robinson going over to take the defensive coordinator job over South Carolina, now he has South Carolina kind of up there with them. And just a lot of other guys staying true to their commitment, but including Sam Bruce last night. The Friday night game, Sam Bruce had some incredible comments, just reaffirming his commitment to the U and where he stands, and of course had a lot to say about Kevin Beard, his mentor for a long time. He was here to watch him play, so you have to watch that video interview, and you know the UM fans loved what he had to say, of course.
Yeah, and you know one thing I took away, and one person I wrote about tonight, he doesn't have signing day for another 3 years, but James Cook, the younger brother of Dalvin Cook, you saw tonight just how special it is to be a part of that Cook family. He ends up running for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns in the 6A championship game today. I talked to his dad, who runs a car wash business in Opelika. You know, he's got his oldest son now, who probably should have been a Heisman finalist, wasn't, but just missed the cut. I'm pretty sure we all know Dalvin Cook's going to be there next year. But now James, his career is just getting off the ground. So many good, young, talented players, especially again on that Central team. You look at St. Thomas with all the young superstars they have. Dre, I'm going to kick it back to you here. Your thoughts here as this season wraps up. What are you looking forward to most next year and in the coming years with the talent that we have coming back in Dayton Broward?
I mean, you always want to see new teams step up and you know, become, you know, championship caliber teams. We saw that this year with Flanagan. Next season, I think a lot of these teams are going to prove they can go on extended runs. I mean, this was the year that they were kind of doubted. Like I said before, Booker T, Central, they could do this for another 2 years. You look at Booker T's roster, they're not losing much. And this was the year that everyone said from the beginning, they probably won't make it there. Like we had our doubts too as far as like, could they get past Coco? They did, and then some. And I think a lot of it has to do with that young talent. I mean, you look at a kid like Daniel Richardson, the quarterback, only a freshman. You know, Jaquan Beaver on defense, only a sophomore. A lot of guys that are going to step up into big roles next year. And you might see these teams back here for not just next season, maybe the season after that. I mean, we're fortunate right now that we are watching dynasties that if you talk to a lot of people that have been around a long time, they never thought anything like this would ever happen. I mean, you and I used to always say all the time, it's hard enough for anybody to win 3 in a row. We just witnessed 4 and counting.
And I did my math before we came back. I was over the brother. I love doing, I love doing that stuff. That's last 4 years out of a possible 28 state championships. That's 2A through 8A each year. That's 17 state titles for Dayton Broward County out of a possible 28. Do the math, folks. That is 60%. 60% of the possible state championships have been in Dayton Broward County over the last 4 years. That is unbelievable, and any college coach has to be out of his mind to not be down here farming the area. It speaks for, and of course we can thank Central and Booker T for 8 of those 17, obviously. So in St. Thomas and a lot of it, but it's amazing, remarkable dominance, and for Central to get here 6 years in a row, and this is going to be really interesting. You talk about next year. How about Booker T and Central trying to break through and break an all-time state record to win 5 in a row? And hey, we could be a year from tonight, we could be back up here talking about it.
And Andre mentions dynasties. You mentioned Central and Booker T winning 4 in a row. Central also 5 out of 6, only one of three teams statewide to do that. And who's to say they can't do it next year? James Cook, they have him for 3 more years. St. Thomas Aquinas has won 2 in a row now, and with the way they just replenish and restock, and Roger Harriet, what he's built over there, you see all their 2018, 2019 kids already getting offers, and they're the backups, and then they're going to come started pretty soon. I mean, they're just going to be reloaded, and who knows when they'll stop winning titles.
All right, well, Drea, if you don't have anything else to say, I think I'm going to wrap things up. Guys, another fun season covering high school football for the Herald. I've moved on to the Heat beat, but you know what? I'm always going to stick my hand back in the cookie jar here, which is South Florida high school sports, especially with great friends like these and Justin Azpiazu, who's filming behind the camera for us. We enjoy being your coverage team for the Miami Herald. We can't wait to see you next year.